Nearly 2.5 million people work on farms and ranches in the United States, harvesting and caring for the crops that feed American families. Many of those workers are migrants. As Dan Grossman shows us, the struggles they've experienced this year are trickling down into communities.
In the trickle-down nature of economics,
Oh, it's hard.
what affects migrant workers like David Perez?
This year is one the historians will love, and a year we'll be glad to end.
Affects farmers like Bruce Talbot,
So we depend on them.
which in turn affects community organization directors like Carolyn Dunn.
We get the good harvest yesterday.
But we start with David, a man who's just thankful he wasn't cut from his job like so many others on the peach farm where he has worked in Palisade, Colorado for the last 24 years.
It's hard to stay, far away from the family, but that's the way.
David works here on an H-2A visa, which allows him legal residence for certain working months without becoming a citizen. It offers him a living that supports his wife and 5 children who live just outside of Mexico City.
They don't have enough way to get money, just me.
But once the pandemic hit, others weren't as fortunate, as this farm that normally supplies 50 migrant workers with a living wage was forced to cut its workforce to 8.
Some guys ended up going back home against their will, others chose to go back home. Our guys really like working here.
For the farmer's manager, Bruce Talbot, the decision was not easy. The pandemic slashed demand from restaurants and farmers markets he relies on for business, but had to close, forcing Talbot to let go of most of his workers.
A good number of the guest workers.
It has led to a busy last few months for Carolyn Dunn, who works as the executive director of Palisade's Child and Migrant Services.
The gentleman who just called told me, looks like my work is over for this season, and I'd like to come by and get a meal.
Since March, her organization has supplied migrant workers with free meals and hand sanitizer while also pitching in on rent, utilities, and food for groceries.
I forecast a lot of belt tightening and struggling, honestly, to keep bills paid.
Here and in other communities with similar workforces, the effects are felt in local stores, as migrant workers can make up to 20% of the population during harvest season, bringing money to the local economy.
Our local grocery store has made the comment that if we have a peach crop, he has a profitable year. If we don't have a peach crop, he breaks even.
In a year where everyone has been forced to make cuts to their budget, the struggle only continues to trickle down. For The Race, I'm Dan Grossman.
How refugee limits impact people already in the United States. Next on The Race.